Hey everybody, Tuesday, February 10th, and I need to walk you through a pattern change that is unfolding right now across the United States because we are transitioning from one extreme straight into another, and multiple dangerous weather events are lining up over the next 10 to 12 days. The warm anomaly that has been building across the central and southern states is now pushing eastward while a deep cold trough is setting up along the west coast, and that combination is creating the perfect engine for storms. We are tracking a severe weather threat for the south-central United States this Friday into Saturday that could produce damaging winds, hail, and isolated tornadoes. Right behind that, a long-duration megastorm is about to slam the west coast with what could be 7 to 10 feet of snow in the highest elevations, heavy rainfall that is going to cause flooding in California, and powerful winds. And then, as that energy transfers eastward, we have a major question mark hanging over the Ohio Valley, Mid-Atlantic, and Northeast about whether the precipitation arriving by Sunday and Monday comes as freezing rain, snow, or more thunderstorms. There is an enormous amount happening, so let me break it all down city by city and region by region. By the way, if you'd like specific weather forecasts for your region or city, please leave them in the comments. I'll answer them individually as time allows. Also, if you like the video and subscribe to my channel, you'd be very grateful. Now, let's move on. First, let us set the stage with where temperatures stand right now because the contrast across the country is staggering. The warm side of the pattern is delivering impressive numbers today. Dallas is pushing into the mid-70s. Houston is in the upper 70s approaching 80. San Antonio hits the low 80s. Oklahoma City and Tulsa are in the upper 60s. Little Rock reaches the mid-60s. Memphis is in the low 60s. Atlanta is climbing into the upper 50s. Nashville hits the mid-50s. Birmingham and Montgomery are in the upper 50s to low 60s. Charlotte and Raleigh reach the low 50s. Jacksonville is in the mid-60s. Tampa and Orlando are in the low 70s. New Orleans is approaching 70. Meanwhile, the Northeast is still shaking off the remnants of that brutal Arctic air mass. Boston is in the upper 30s today, which after 2 weeks of single digits feels like spring but is still below average. New York City reaches the low 40s. Philadelphia hits the mid-40s. Washington, D.C. and Baltimore get into the upper 40s. Pittsburgh is in the upper 30s. Buffalo is around 35. Cleveland and Detroit are in the upper 30s to low 40s. Chicago reaches the low 40s. Indianapolis hits the mid-40s. Minneapolis is in the upper 30s after that incredible surge into the 60s over the weekend. Out west, the picture is completely different. The trough is already dragging cooler air into the Pacific states. Seattle and Portland are in the mid-40s with rain arriving. San Francisco is in the upper 50s. Los Angeles is still warm in the upper 60s, but that is about to change dramatically. Denver sits in the low 40s. Salt Lake City is in the mid-30s. Boise is in the upper 30s. These western cities are about to get hammered by what is shaping up to be one of the most significant storm cycles of the winter. Now let me walk you through the events in order. The first storm system is a weaker feature that brings precipitation across the southern states today and tomorrow. This is mainly a rain event as it slides from the south-central states into the southeast. Nothing severe with this one. A little bit of snow could clip New England on the back end as it interacts with the remaining cold air up there. Boston might see a coating to an inch. Hartford and Providence could pick up an inch or two. Albany and the higher terrain of Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine could see 2 to 4 inches. But this is a minor event. The real action starts with storm number 2. By Friday the 13th into Saturday the 14th, a much more significant system develops across the south-central United States. Dew points surge into the 60s across Texas, Louisiana, Arkansas, and Mississippi, and temperatures climb into the 70s and even the low 80s across deep South Texas. That is an incredible amount of fuel for mid-February. When you combine that moisture and instability with the strong winds building at the 850 millibar level through Saturday afternoon, you get a serious, severe weather setup. Here is the timeline. Late Friday into Saturday morning, storms begin firing across eastern Texas and eastern Oklahoma. By Saturday afternoon, the most intense activity is centered over Louisiana and Arkansas, where the strongest convergence and wind shear are focused. The European model is showing significant lightning density and strong updraft signatures in this zone. Northern Louisiana and southern Arkansas are the areas I am most concerned about for larger hail. By Saturday evening into overnight, the line of storms pushes into Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, and Kentucky with damaging straight-line winds as the primary threat. The European model shows a well-defined squall line structure, and the southern side of that line carries the potential for embedded tornadoes, specifically the type of brief spin-ups you get within a quasi-linear convective system. Let me give you the city-by-city breakdown for the severe threat. Dallas and Fort Worth see storms earlier Friday evening, mainly wind and rain. Houston gets heavy rain Friday night. Oklahoma City and Tulsa are on the northern fringe with gusty winds and rain. Shreveport and Monroe, Louisiana are in the bullseye for Saturday's strongest activity with hail and damaging wind potential. Little Rock and Texarkana are right there with them. Jackson, Mississippi picks up the severe threat Saturday evening. Memphis sees storms Saturday evening into overnight with strong winds. Birmingham and Montgomery face the line of storms late Saturday night into early Sunday. Nashville and Knoxville get the tail end overnight into Sunday morning with mainly a wind threat. Atlanta sees storms push through Sunday morning. Pensacola, Mobile, and the Florida Panhandle catch activity Saturday night. Colorado State University is already flagging a 5% severe threat area for this event, and I expect the Storm Prediction Center to issue a slight risk covering southern Arkansas and Louisiana within the next couple of days. Now here is where the forecast gets complicated. As this system pushes northeast through Sunday and into Monday, the question becomes what happens when it encounters the colder air still draped across the Ohio Valley, Mid-Atlantic, and Northeast. The European and GFS models are giving different answers. The European shows a stronger storm that tracks further north and delivers a significant wintry mix, potentially snow or freezing rain, across the Ohio Valley and Great Lakes before reaching the Mid-Atlantic and Northeast as a more organized system. The GFS has backed off the major nor'easter signal it was showing in previous runs and keeps the storm further south, bringing mainly rain to the southeast and only a glancing blow of wintry weather to the northeast. For the Ohio Valley and Northeast, here is what I think right now. Pittsburgh, Cleveland, and Columbus could see a wintry mix of freezing rain and snow Sunday into Monday. The interior Northeast from Albany through Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine has the best chance for accumulating snow, potentially 3 to 7 inches. New York City, Philadelphia, and Washington, D.C. are in the uncertain zone where this could go either way depending on which model verifies. Boston could see rain changing to snow on the back end. The details on this portion are going to change significantly over the next 3 to 4 days, so I will keep updating as new data comes in. Now let me talk about the monster developing out west because this is going to be the dominant weather story for the next week. Starting Wednesday, a deep trough locks in along the west coast, and it is not going anywhere for days. We are talking about a PNA index crashing to -3, which puts a powerful and persistent storm track aimed directly at the Pacific states. This is not a one-day event. This is a 6 to 7 day siege of storm after storm, rotating through California, Oregon, and Washington from approximately the 15th through the 21st. The snowfall totals for the western mountains are staggering. The Sierra Nevada is looking at 7 to 10 feet in the highest elevations from stacking systems over this period. The Cascades in Washington and Oregon add several more feet on top of what they are already receiving this week. The northern Rockies from Idaho through Montana and into Wyoming continue to pile up snow. Even the central Rockies in Colorado see meaningful accumulation. Lower elevations along the California coast are facing heavy rainfall, and the Weather Prediction Center has already issued a high risk for heavy rainfall stretching across central and southern California. That means flooding is not just possible, it is likely. Los Angeles, San Bernardino, Santa Barbara, San Luis Obispo, Sacramento, and the San Francisco Bay Area all need to be prepared for significant rain and potential flooding from multiple rounds of storms. Portland and Seattle see extended periods of rain as well. The wind component of this western storm cycle is also significant. A moderate risk for high winds covers portions of the west from Saturday into next week, with gusts of 40 to 50 miles per hour across lower elevations and 60 to 80 plus in the mountains and passes. Travel through the Sierras, Cascades, and Rocky Mountain passes is going to be extremely dangerous for an extended period. Looking beyond all of this, the late February pattern continues to support an active storm track across the central and eastern United States. As the deep western trough eventually ejects energy eastward, the Midwest, Ohio Valley, and Northeast Remain in the crosshairs for additional winter storm potential during the 3rd and 4th weeks of February. The temperature gradient from Texas to the Ohio Valley is going to be sharp, and any system riding along that boundary has the potential to produce significant snow on the cold side and severe weather on the warm side. I will be tracking every development as we get closer. So here's your summary. Today through Thursday is the calm before the storms, with temperatures moderating across the east. Friday into Saturday brings a genuine severe weather threat for the south-central states, with damaging winds, hail, and isolated tornadoes from Texas through Louisiana, Arkansas, Mississippi, and Alabama. Sunday into Monday is the big question mark for the Ohio Valley and Northeast regarding wintry weather. And starting mid-next week, the West Coast gets absolutely hammered by a multi-day megastorm that brings feet of mountain snow, dangerous flooding rain for California, and howling winds. This is one of the most action-packed 10-day stretches we have seen all winter, and I will be right here covering every piece of it. Stay safe out there, and we will talk again very soon.